Speaking on behalf of the Cambridge Marxist Society and the Revolutionary Communist Party. Comrades, as we know, the university is menacing our vet school. The recent proposals by the university's General Board to potentially close admissions to the veterinary medicine course from 2026, to transfer students after 3 years to another institution, or fulfill their teaching requirements through partnerships with the private sector have not come out of nowhere. The university has been excluding the department from university estate planning for years, and launched an internal review in 2023 to determine its future. This review has so far offered no real conclusions or formal recommendations. The interim report from this review group merely suggested that a major investment in clinical and teaching facilities would be needed from the university to develop a sustainable model for the course, but also claimed that the university cannot make that commitment at this time. The need for investment to make the course sustainable was also stressed in the RTBS report, and it is scandalous that the university, with its vast endowments, has chosen to ignore these recommendations in favour of slashing the course. The university has an operating surplus of £726.1 million in the last financial year, enough to increase our dear Vice-Chancellor's annual remuneration by 16% to £577,000. If cuts have to be made to shore up operational surpluses, perhaps they should start there. These eye-watering wages are claimed to be necessary to attract and retain high-performing leadership. Well, if high-performing leadership means a bunch of bureaucrats happy to scrap a vital course and place over 160 jobs at risk in the interest of saving money for hedge fund investments, I think it is the sort of leadership that the university would be better off without. Yeah! All this comes in the broader context of the general marketisation of higher education in the UK. Austerity has stripped our universities of state funding and driven these institutions into the open arms of capital. The general stagnation of the British economy reflects itself in marketised higher education. Universities up and down the country are going broke and cutting courses as rising costs and slim returns on investments, the effects of marketisation, catch up with them. The enormous scale of Cambridge's capital, having a £6 billion endowment fund, invested in a diverse portfolio of hedge funds, arms companies and other capitalists, allows it to weather this storm better than other universities, continuing to operate at an enormous surplus. This fact makes the proposal of course closures all the more criminal. The decision to close the vet school is being made simply to save an extra couple million to fuel the coffers of investment banks. The bosses have only one interest: to cater to the whims of capital. They must keep operational surpluses high and keep pouring money into investment firms so that the university remains a competitive market entity, and at the end of the year they get a nicer payout. It is clear from all of this that isolated complaints, petitions and letters to the Vice-Chancellor and university management will not sway them. The marketisation of higher education means that universities are entirely beholden to investment banks and hedge funds, focused more on managing capital than funding courses. Staff and students cannot hope to sway these bureaucrats with moralistic appeals. The dictates of capital will always be more persuasive. We should be proud of the turnout here today and applaud all those organising to resist the attacks on the vet med course. But we must also continue to work to grow our campaign. We must build a united mass movement of students and staff across all departments that they simply cannot ignore. We must remind them that where power really lies, and that it lies with us, and that without us, the university would not keep running. More broadly, we must fight these cuts at their root, combating the wider trend of marketisation across the whole higher education sector through a broad struggle of all staff and students in the sector. Our first step must be to bolster our campaign here and demonstrate in practice the formidable strength the united movement of staff and students can have. We must demand that the university opens up the books so that all its investments and assets, all of the management and senior wages, the full scale of university and college endowments are revealed. The university says there's no money to fund essential courses. Well, then let us look. I'm sure staff and students will be able to find the money for the vet school somewhere. Perhaps there are some jobs which could be cut or wages that could be slashed, not at the vet school, but instead amongst the bosses. We must also demand staff and student control of the university. After all, this uni could not exist or operate without us, but I strongly suspect it could do perfectly well without the leadership of management. We must remind the bosses that it is staff and students who keep the university running and which give it its purpose, prestige and academic character. Without us, there'd be no university and no £500,000 paycheck to the bosses at the end of the year. They need us, we don't need them. In short, we should broaden our struggle to smash the bosses, smash the capitalists and their stooges in the university. If you want to join the fight back against capitalism, I invite you to join the Revolutionary Communist Party. We are committed to fighting the sickness of this decrepit system in whatever form it manifests. The Revolutionary Communist Party will stand with the unions, university staff and students every step of the way in their struggle against the closure of the vet school. Together we will defend the vet school. Together we can smash the bosses and the capitalists. Long live the revolutionary struggle of students and workers.